Hi, if you want to learn how to create videos like this, or this automatically, stay to learn how to make them in a way very economical and fast. Videos like the ones you just saw are having millions of views on social media, and today you're going to learn how to create them from scratch too. And we are going to do it using a new video model called Sidens, which is replacing Veo 3 as one of the best video models. The most important thing, it can be up to 25 times cheaper than BO3. And now it is possible to fully automate it in NA10. That's exactly what you're going to learn to do today. So in Mintopwell, our mission is simple: make that artificial intelligence and automation be accessible for everyone. If you would like to have that JSON and everything you need to automate creating videos with artificial intelligence, it is available within the Mintopwell community. So if you want this flow and orders ready to use, join today. The link is here below in the description. Now let's look at our workflow. It may seem a little complex at first, but it is actually very simple to understand because the structure is designed to be clear and efficient. It's quite simple. It is divided into three parts. The first generates ideas and saves them in Google Sheets. The second part generates the clips using Sidens, and Sidens does not generate sounds natively. We use the third section to add sounds to clips. Now we will move on to each one of the steps one by one so you understand how these clips are generated automatically. We run this workflow and we wait for it to finish. We will be able to review the final result together. Now we are going to move on for each one of the steps one by one so you understand how this clip is generated automatically. The first step is the heart of the automation, the schedule trigger. Think about this node like the alarm clock of our video factory. Instead of you having to press play every time, this triggers the system and tells it that it's time to create. Okay, perfect. Once it is activated, the flow reaches the first brain of the operations, this node, that generates the ideas. Here we gave you a simple prompt like artificial intelligence, and this agent has to follow the rules of his system message to transform a specific video idea. This is the prompt we used. It's set up like this. First, we have to require a specific output format because its function is to allow configuring an output parser, which is the node that forces the AI to give us the answer in order fields as hashtag, titles, etc. Without this, the AI would respond with a jumbled text. Second, in the settings, it is set up to continue if there are any error. This prevents automation from stopping. This agent has the following node connected the brain. We use OpenAI, and this is the agent's engine. He used to generate ideas, and which is a powerful model like GPT-4. The parser node that this helps us to generate responses in exact fields as title and hashtag. And the third one, the think node. This is the step where the agent think to use his brain and the mold. Once our agent finishes generating the ideas, we move on to the next node. What is an open Google Sheets row. Think of it as your own assistant that takes the idea newly created by AI and update our Google Sheets with the information received. Okay, let's go in and set it up together. Okay. The first step will be to add your credentials. If you already have them connected, simply select them or create them from scratch. We leave these configurations as is. In the next step, we have to select our document. In this case, mine is called Sidens Video. And we have to select the sheet where NA10 will save or update the information you are generating, okay? We select the correct one. Then choose this option, column mode, map each column manually. We use this so we can decide exactly what information goes in each column. This gives us full control to choose what data is written and where it appears. Now, the next step is to configure the dynamic labels. These labels come from the previous node. It's the answer that the AI gave us. Okay? We just take those values and add them to the fields one by one. Once this step is finished, the result is what you will see on Google Sheets spreadsheet, a clear list of the content being created. We can now see the ideas already added and waiting the production queue. And the ideas that are already finished even include the link to the final video in the final output column. Once we have our information saved in our control sheets in Google Sheets, we move on to the next node, okay? So let's go back to our workflow in Anything. Now we are going to configure our AI agent. The main instruction here is dynamic tags. We give the agent all the context it needs. We tell it to take the idea from the row we just added in Google Sheets and use the environment to generate the prompt for our video. The next step is to configure the system message, and this is where we define the rules. Basically, we want our AI agent to act like a prompt agenter. That way, it can write a great description that students will use to generate the best video possible. Here, you can get creative, experiment with different instructions to get the results you want, okay? Let's continue the configuration. We select the model, leave this setting activated, and go to settings. Now, if an error occurs, we need to make sure that our node is set to continue run even if something goes wrong. We finish configuring what I like to call our second brain. Once we complete the idea generation part, it's time to move on to the video creation. To do that, we're going to use an HTTP request node. Let's go into its configuration. First, we need to select a post method because we are asking the application to create a video for us. We'll be using a specific URL, and I'll show you exactly where to get it. Next, we add our credentials. Here, we need to choose a generic credential, then select header auth, and finally have our credentials. In my case, I already have the API connected, but I walk you through the steps so you can do it too. Just click on create new credential, and to fill the required values, you need to go to the next page. Once you're there, we start from scratch. Click explore, then search for Seedens model. It should appear among the most popular. Now go to the AP section and inside the HTTPS area, click and scroll down a bit. Here you see it generates a link that you can use in your HTTP request node, and this is the link you need. Okay, perfect. Once you have it, go back to the HTTP request configuration, add your credentials, select authorization, and paste your API key as the value. Click Save. This will create your credentials and you'll be able to use FowlAI.com to work with Seedens and other language models. Once you've added your credentials and you have your URL ready, we move on to the configuration. We select this option, use JSON. This JSON structure comes directly from the Seedens documentation. If we go back to that page, we'll see this section, and that shows what options are available, the resolution, the duration, and the structure that our JSON should have. Okay. Now, if we look at our node NA10, you notice that we are following the same structure: the aspect ratio, the resolution, duration, and the prompt. We use the output from our prompt agent. With that, we finish configuring our first HTTP request node. Creating a video with AI takes time, so we add a wait node to delay the next step by 1 minute. This gives students time to finish generating the video. However, it might take a bit longer. Let me show you how to handle that. Right now, we can see that the status is in progress. The next node will add another HTTP request, but this one is used to fetch the final video without sound for now. Let's review how it works. We change the method to get, and we'll use this URL provided in the student's documentation. If we go to the right section there, we'll see it tells us that the URL is the same one was we used earlier. But this time we have to append the request ID to the end. That request ID comes from the previous response. So all we do is to copy, go back to our workflow in A10 and paste it into the URL field in this new HTTP request, okay? Let's run this part of the workflow so you can see where the dynamic labels come from. When we run the first HTTP node, it tells us the request is still in progress. Then we hit the wait node, which pauses for a minute. Once the video is done, the node will continue, okay? Let's check what we get after the wait. Here, we can see that it returns the request ID as dynamic label. We're going to execute this step so we can get the final output. We run it and get an error, and it says our request is still in progress, which means our wait node didn't delay long enough. To fix this, we add an if node. This node checks two things. If we don't get the video URL, it sends the flow back to the wait node. And if we do get the URL, it continues to the next step. Okay, let's run this again. Now we see that since the video was ready yet, it loops back to the wait again. Okay. Well, let it run until the video is fully complete. Once it finishes, we get the video URL and we can test it by clicking on the link. This gives us a direct link to the download video. Right now, though, the video doesn't have any sound, so the next part of the workflow is to add the audio. Let's go back to our workflow in N810 and configure the next HTTP request node. This one will create sound for the video we just received. Let's go into and set up it. We're using a post method because, again, we are asking an application to do something for us. In this case, generate audio. For the URL, we're using a different model now called Audio because it's simple and has a good affordable price, okay? To get the URL in documentation, it's the same process. Go to the API section, choose HTTP, and copy the URL for your post method. Now, go back for your workflow in N10 and paste the URL. Add your credentials. If you already add them earlier, you don't need to do it again. Just select them from the list. We configure it the same way as before and make sure the node is active. And now we go to the JSON body. This structure also comes from the Audio documentation. If we check that documentation, well, we'll see the format is the same. In our node, we just need to update some parameters by replacing them with these dynamic labels, okay? For example, we change the value of the video URL to the one we just received from the previous node, okay? And we get the sound from the prompt from our idea agent, okay? From our idea agent. So the key we use is something like this, sound to capture. We just take that and that's it. Once it's added and configured, we run the node. We open it and see that the request is still in progress again. So we move to the next node, which is just another wait node to give the model time to create the sound. This step is about putting everything together, creating the full video with image and sound. Perfect, it's done. We open it and we see again that it's still in process. So we move on to the next node. This node works the same way as the one we used to get the silent video, but this time it gets the final video with sound. We set the method get because now we are retrieving the final results, okay? And that's it. This is all you need to do to get the final video. Let's execute this step. And here we see it generates a link for the completed video. Before viewing it, we add an if no, just in case the video is not ready yet, like before. This way, the workflow won't fail. It will loop back to the wait node and try it again until it finishes. Let's check what it is returns. Okay, great. Here's the, okay, we have a little mistake. Great. Here's the link. We activate the node and check the output. Perfect. This is the video that was generated. And let's see. Important, remember, you can fully customize this. Use the crazy ideas you can imagine. You can do all of that by configuring the logic inside these two prompts nodes. Let's wrap it up. So we got the final video URL, and now we need to update our Doodle sheets with that new information. Let's run the step. It's done. Let's check the configuration. Select your credentials. Choose the document you're working on. Select the sheet. Then map the data you want to update, okay? For example, I match the title column using a dynamic title tag, so N10 knows which row to update. For example, we can also update the status column to finish it and fill in the final output field with the final video URL. Let's review. Yes, it's exactly the same URL we got earlier. Perfect. Perfect. It's the same. And just like that, step by step, we build a system that can generate viral style video automatically from the initial idea to the final video with sound. The entire process runs without you touching nothing. If you want to save time and start producing today, remember that the full workflow is available inside our community. All you have to do is join, and inside you find the JSON file of this documentation ready to import, along with many other workflows to take your project to the next level. The link is right here below in the description. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.